Namaste, welcome yogis, my name is Nin. Today we have a really wonderful full body flow which is for beginners. It lasts 30 minutes. Now for props you don't really need blocks, but if you would like, have some nearby to help you get deeper into the poses, and if you don't have blocks, try some books out. So for the first pose, what I'd like you to do is come into a cross-legged position like this and have one shin ideally in front of the other. And we're just going to loop our shoulders around and straighten our spine and breathe in. Get ourselves in the mindset ready for a class and bring ourselves to the present moment on the mat. And what I'd like you to do is walk your hands down to the mat and walk them round towards your left hand side and just stretch out here. Now this is a really good stretch and you should try and keep your right hip on the mat, pushing down. This is a lovely stretch through the obliques. Just inhale your oxygen into that place of tension. And then I'd like you to lift your right arm off the mat and look up towards your right palm. And here you should feel again some deeper stretch, perhaps along the ribs and especially in the lower part of your back. Inhale there, beautiful. Bring your right arm back down to the floor and walk to the center. And then I'd like you to walk to the other side. So bring your hands round to the right and just sink in towards your right knee and let your left hip come down towards the mat and feel that stretch along the left hand side of your ribs. Let your head fall here and bring yourself into the present moment. And from here, I'd like you this time to lift your left arm off the mat and look up towards your left palm. Inhale here. Exhale, bringing with control your left hand down to the floor. Walk your hands back into the center and then sit up into a pose called Easy Pose. Now from here we're going to do a few more twists along the spine just to get the circulation moving along our back. So I'd like you to inhale, bringing your palms up to the sky, and then bring your hands down to the right hand side. Have your left hand maybe clasp your right knee and then just look over your right shoulder. As we come into what we call a seated twist pose. Inhale, bringing our palms back up to center and then going around to the other side. So bringing your right hand to your left knee and look over your left shoulder. Try and keep your spine straight here, keeping yourself active. Inhale, back to center, palms up to the sky, and then we're going to come into a pose we call Tabletop Pose. So for this, bringing your palms underneath your shoulders, bring your knees underneath your hips, just stay here and maybe do a few circles at the back and back the other way, just to get yourself comfortable in this pose. What I'd like you to do here is just tuck your toes under and lift up your knees slightly. Just hold there, pressing down, feeling a bit of heat, and then bring your knees back down to the mat and then lifting up your left knee to the side, just opening up your hip here, then bringing it down back to the center into Tabletop Pose, and then tucking the toes under, lifting your knees off the mat, pressing down, bringing your knees back to the mat, Then this time lifting your right knee up to the side. If you hear a few clicks, it's quite normal because this isn't a position we'll do very often. Then bring your knees back to the mat. And then we're just going to do that another time. Tucking your toes under, lift your knees up, and then come down to the mat. Lifting your left hip out to the side, lifting up your left knee with it. Exhale, back down to tabletop. Tucking your toes under, pushing up, holding it there, then releasing, and then lifting up your right hip to the side. Then bringing our knee back down to the mat, and we'll come back into tabletop pose. Just stay here, and we'll do what we call a cat-cow breath. So arch your spine, bring your tailbone in, tuck your head under, so your spine should be arched. This is called cat position. Exhale, arch your spine down towards the mat, lift the tailbone, open the shoulders and look out towards the front. Okay? The next pose we're going to do is a pose called puppy pose. So what I'd like you to do here is just walk forward with your hands onto the mat and bring your chest down. Bring your elbows towards the mat, and it's really important here we keep our seat directly above our knees, and just sink here and feel the shoulder blades coming towards each other, feeling a nice stretch through your armpits as you breathe into the mat. And then coming forward onto our bellies, we're going to come into a pose that we call Cobra Pose. So here I'd like you to be on your forearms. Look out in front of you, bringing your shoulders away from your ears, stretching open your chest, shoulder blades being brought together, and then pushing down with your thighs, with your feet into the mat. Just breathe here. And then we'll come back into our tabletop pose. And here you might want to move depending on where you are. For me, I'm quite near the wall, so I'm just going to move out to the side slightly. What I'd like you to do is twizzle round with your right knee to the back of your mat, like this. And then bring your left leg so that it's straight. And there should be a line running from your left toes. If you lift your arm up towards your left fingers. Inhale here, find the balance, and if you want to take it a little bit further, lifting up, if you can, your left leg off the mat. Try and press it up. Exhale, brilliant. Coming back down into tabletop pose. And then what we're going to do is do it on the other side. So twizzle around your knee this time to the left. And then bringing your right foot out towards the shorter side of your mat. And there should be, if you lift your hand up over your head, a straight-ish line coming from your right foot, pinky toes, to the tips of your right hand. Feel the stretch through here, this lovely rejuvenating stretch. Then lift up with your right leg a little bit off the floor if you can and it's available to you. So pressing up a bit more. Exhale, wonderful. Coming back down into tabletop pose before we take our first downward facing dog. So what we'll do here is tuck the toes under, bring our seat back towards our heels, and press up into a downward facing dog. Letting our head hang, stretching out our calves, pressing down to the earth, and we should be in an upside down V shape. Inhale, and then we're going to walk or jump to the top of our mat so that our feet are in between our palms. And here we're just going to fold forward, bend your knees if you need to, or maybe grab a hold of those blocks just to bring yourself up a little bit. just hang here in forward fold, letting your head drop to the floor. And then halfway lift, bring your hands to your shins. Keep your back straight, look in front of you. Exhale back into forward fold, and then we're going to roll up vertebra by vertebra to a standing mountain pose. Inhale, bringing our arms up in front of us, tucking the tailbone in, making sure the pelvis is tucked in and engaged, and the abdomen's engaged. Opening our palms, making our pinky fingers, perhaps bringing them in a bit, bending the knees, and if you want, just lift the toes slightly so that you can press into your heels and get a true stretch and sense of how you need to balance. Exhale, coming back up into mountain pose. Now, we're going to take a few balancing poses here. So in yoga, we do quite a lot of these, but we'll do some more grounding, easier variations today. So what I'd like you to do is just get your center, put your weight now into your left foot, and bring your right knee up towards your chest, and just hold it there. Maybe bringing your right knee out to the side, opening up your hips, coming back to center, and place your right foot on the mat. And then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So ground down through your right foot, and this time lift your left knee off the mat towards your chest. Just find your balance here. This is the most important bit. And when you've found your center, bringing your left knee out to the side, pressing down through your right foot, opening up your hips. Bringing your left knee down to the center and back down to the mat. For this next pose we're going to do, it's going to be called tree pose. It's quite a common pose in yoga. Now I'm going to teach you a couple of variations and do whatever you need to do to get into this pose. The first one is where we bring our right foot, we ground down through our left foot and bring our right foot down towards the ankle there. And we bring our palms together and we stand up straight. The next is you can bring up your right foot maybe a bit higher and stand in tree pose like this. Or if you can, you might be able to bring your foot up a little bit higher and stand like this. And just inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Releasing your palms and coming back down onto the mat. And we'll just find our balance again before we take that to the other side. So again, finding your balance here is the most important thing. We might wobble, it's completely normal, and it might feel completely different on one side to the other. So bringing your left foot towards your right ankle, bring your palms together and just stand. If you like, you might be able to take your left foot up a little bit higher, and if you like, you might be able to bring it up a little bit higher. You might need some support to help you do this. And then bring your palms together and stay in tree pose. Inhale, exhale, palms back down. And just find your center and shake it out a little bit here. The next pose we're going to do is we're going to open up our feet to the side, so open up our legs quite wide, and then bring our little toes maybe in facing each other. Put our hands on the waist. Inhale up through the chest, then slowly bending our hips, and make sure we bend from our hips, nowhere else, not our back, and come down towards the mat. And this is wide-legged forward fold. Inhale here. Exhale, beautiful. Inhale, 2 more breaths. And slowly from here, lift lift your head, bringing your hands to your waist, and just come up, keep the spine straight, and just make sure that your head feels centered. Make sure the blood comes back. And then here, I'd like you to bring your feet out so that they're facing to the front of the long side of your mat. And then I'd like you to bend your knees. And maybe, it depends on your flexibility, maybe you have to bring your feet out to the side a little bit. This pose is a pose we call goddess pose. So inhale, keeping your knees bent into a squat. And then just cross your arms above your head and just hover here for 3 breaths. Then bringing your hands down to your thighs, just press in with your right palm to your right thigh and look over, if you can, your right shoulder. Coming back to center and then press in with your left hand to your left thigh and look over your left shoulder. Inhale from here, straightening up the legs again. Just aligning the feet so the toes come in towards each other. Putting your hands on your waist. Inhale, then bending over into a wide-legged forward fold again. Let your head hang as you find center here. And then bring your palms over to the right-hand side, the right foot, and just stretch through your hamstrings here. Might be a really nice release after a day of sitting at your desk and taking in stress. Come back to center. And then coming over to the other side. Come back to center. Hands on the waist. Just bend your knees, micro bend them slightly. Coming up, making sure you don't come up too quickly. And we'll come back into our standing wide-legged forward fold. From here, I'd like you to pivot round your right foot to the front of the mat, the short end of your mat, and maybe adjusting your left foot so that you find balance. So remember that here, just do a check that the arch of your left foot is in line with the right heel. And from here, bend into your left knee, so it's a 90-degree angle. Make sure you feel that nice stretch through the left-hand side. And then we're going to come up into a warrior 2 pose. So this means we're lifting our arms parallel to the mat. Make sure that you're always lifting your arms. Don't let them flop forward, don't let your shoulders slump. Just bringing up your arms parallel to the mat. Inhale, then turn your right hand up to the sky and taking a reverse warrior. So bringing your left hand down to your left leg and straighten up with your right knee. Reverse warrior. Coming back down into warrior 2, bend the right knee. And then what we're going to do here is bring our feet out to the front and take that completely on the other side. So, twizzle your left foot so that it's at the shorter end of your mat facing them. Bending your left knee so it's a 90-degree angle, and your right foot is supporting you, whatever that means to you. Feel that stretch through your right thigh, making sure that your torso is facing the long side of your mat, and lifting your palms up so that they're parallel with the mat, and just feel yourself pressing down with the hips, bending into your left knee. Inhale, exhale. Bring now your left palm so it's facing the ceiling, bringing your right arm down to your right leg, and we'll take a reverse warrior, straightening up the left knee. And then inhale, coming back into our warrior two with our left knee bent. Putting our palms on our hips, bringing our feet round to the front of the mat. And then we're going to step to the front of our mat. And take a forward fold. So inhale with your palms up to the sky, and then slowly bending your knees, come down, bringing your hands to the earth. And just let your head drop here. Just find your center. Notice how you might be now feeling. Inhale, bringing your palms to your shins. Straighten out your back. Exhale, bringing your palms down to the mat. And step back into plank pose. So for those of you who haven't done plank pose before, putting our palms on the mat, webbing our hands, our fingers, pressing down through our toes, and keeping our bum so that it's in line, engaging your navel, and then bending your elbows. We're going to take a vinyasa, coming into your ribs, and come down to the mat. Stomach, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Tucking the toes under. Bringing our seat back to our heels. And we'll take a downward facing dog. Stretch through the calves, pedal it out if you need to. Realign your body so that you feel supported. This is a very good detoxifying pose, and it also works to bring the blood back to your head, which you won't have been doing all day. Beautiful. Okay, and now from here, we'll bring our right foot in between the gates of our palms and lower down our left knee. And we'll take a low lunge. So just line yourself here, making sure that your right ankle is under your right knee. Press down through the hips. Inhale, lifting up with your torso, lifting your palms above your head. And we're going to take, this might be enough for you, but we're going to take an extended version of this called Crescent Lunge. So just lean back with your head and arch your spine slightly. And you'll feel that extra stretch through your left thigh. Press down through the hips, feel that release of energy. Then bringing your palms back down either side of your right foot and press back with your hips, straightening up your right knee. We'll take what we call here a half split and try to flex your right foot if you can. Bending your right knee, bringing your palms either side of your right foot, and we'll take a tabletop pose. So just make sure your knees are under your hips and your palms are supporting your shoulders. And we'll take that to the other side. So come forward, bringing your left foot in between your palms. Align yourself here, again checking in, making sure that your knee aligns with your ankle, and press down through the hips. Take an inhale, coming up, bringing the palms above your head, and we're going to take a slightly extended version on this side too. So arch back with your back, look up to the sky, bring your pinky fingers towards each other, stretch it out. And then inhale, bringing your palms either side of your left foot, and we'll push back into a half split. So straightening out your right, your left knee, and flexing your left foot here. And try to bring your forehead down towards the left knee. Bending your left knee now, And we're going to take a tabletop pose. So in this next pose, just find your center here. Make sure, check in that you're aligned. And one way to do this is to look down at your navel and just check that your spine is straight. Now, the pose we're going to do is called a Superman pose. So what I'd like you to do, just make sure that you've got enough room. Lifting up with your left leg. And this might be enough for you, and that's absolutely fine. But if you'd like, lift up your right arm as well and stretch out in front of you. And this is Superman pose. And then coming in, bringing your elbow and knee towards your chest. Coming out, and we'll take 3 of those. Beautiful. Okay, coming back into tabletop, we'll take that onto the other side. So this time, lifting up with your left leg, right leg. Lifting up with your left arm. Staying here. And if you like, bringing elbow and knee into the center towards your chest. Stretch it out again, making sure you push up with your hip. We'll take another 3. Beautiful. Come back into tabletop pose, and we'll take an extended child's pose here. So what I'd like you to do is bringing your knees out to the side of your mat and then come into child's pose. Just sink down to the mat, take your tailbone back towards your heels and feel that stretch. Feel yourself sinking in to the mat. From here, I'd like you to come back up into a kneeling pose. And then come bringing your legs out in front of you. Swizzle your feet round to the front of your mat. And then we'll just come down with our back towards the mat. Lying down. And here, what I want you to do is put your palms flat on the mat and make sure your feet are flat on the mat. Inhale, bring your pelvis up towards the ceiling. Lifting up, peeling your spine off the mat. Engaging the thighs. Take a breath. And then coming back down to the mat. Slowly and with control. And then just let your knees fall out to the left-hand side and look over your right shoulder and bring your palms out, your arms out to the side of you into cactus pose. And then again, just look over your right shoulder. Bring your knees back to center. Just bringing your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug here. And then just let go of your knees slightly and let them fall over to the right this time. And look out over your left shoulder and bring your hands into a cactus pose. Come back into center with your knees and we'll take our final resting Shavasana pose. So for here, just bringing your feet out straight. Bring your palms down to the side of you. Maybe open them up towards the ceiling and just let your feet drop out beside you. And inhale here. Noticing how you now feel. Noticing that you might feel now more engaged, more centered. Inhale through the lungs, down towards the abdomen, the pelvis, the thighs, the shins and the calves. And exhale deeper into this resting position. Unclench your jaw, unfurrow your brow, and bring yourself back to the present moment. If ever your thoughts start to run away, just bring them back to this mat, this moment which is for yourself. And if you want to stay here for a bit longer, you're more than welcome. If you want to join me, start to wiggle your hands and your feet. Bringing your knees back up, putting the soles of your feet on the floor, and then just fall down with your knees towards the side. And then come back up into the pose we started with our legs crossed. Inhale, slowly open your eyes, bring your palms above us, palms together, palms towards our chest, and we bow and say Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me on this morning all day flow today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel or offer any comments down below. I'd really like to hear from you and how you got on with this pose. And I hope to see you again on the mat. Namaste, yogis.